my love. So I just got finished filming another video for my true crime channel, and I got to thinking, I have quite the story to share, and I don't normally do story times on here, but I think it's a good one. I feel like someone can learn something from my experience, and I feel like I'm a very cautious, paranoid individual, and I still got myself in this situation. So yeah, basically, you guys know that I moved out to Washington about 4 months ago, and I've been trying to look for community ways to network, just successful people, happy people to put myself around. And I just think that's very important, especially being in a new place, along with like having a friend group, especially because my family's not out here. And so I work at a lot of coffee shops. I'll edit my videos while I sit there. And I'm always very accepting of anybody coming up to me and talking to me. So basically, one day, I think it was like a month ago, this guy came over to me and he was very kind. He was basically asking about the backpack that I use. I have right here. It's just the base backpack, very cute. A lot of girls love it and love that brand, and he was asking about it for his girlfriend to get her one, a nicer backpack. You know, had good energy throughout the conversation, and so he was asking me what I did for a living or what I was doing at the coffee shop. He was like, "You're very dressed up," which I always like to get dressed up anywhere I go, and so he was like, "I'm just interested to hear what you do." And so I kind of told him about my YouTube, about the documentaries, true crime, the victims. And he was very interested, and he was saying that he had started his own e-commerce business and that it had become, you know, something he's really passionate about, that he is still working his way to it being full-time, but basically he had gotten all of the information and experience about how to do stuff like that through his girlfriend's parents, and that they were millionaires who had a happy marriage, who had 5 kids, who all of their kids are now business owners. And he was just really, you know, hyping them up. And then kind of out of nowhere, he was like, "Is that something you would like to, you know, maybe talk to them about?" Or I don't even remember how he phrased it, but it was kind of like, "I can introduce you to these people if that's something that you'd be interested in as a business owner yourself." So I, of course, was very excited for this opportunity. I think you can learn from a lot of people, and even if it was just one conversation, I would be good. So that is when he contacted me. We exchanged information. He contacted me and got me in contact with the mom of this family, the wife. And so I'm not going to give names. They set up a Zoom call for me, and I thought, okay, that's a lot better. I can get to know them over Zoom. Don't have to worry about my safety, because obviously in a new place, I'm not going to go somewhere alone and meet someone alone. And so I informed my boyfriend that this was happening. I did a Zoom call with them, and we were just kind of talking about networking and how hard it is to find like-minded people who want to strive every day for success and do better and own their own business and all of this. It was really quite amazing. And they gave me some recommendations on different books to read and kind of little practices to do. So one of the books was called The Go-Giver. And so I listened to that entire thing. It's a very good book. It's just basically about how you, as a successful person, should give that information to people willingly, and that is what success is to continue giving to other people. And so after hearing that book, it made a little more sense as to why these random strangers might want to, you know, help me and work with me on a, you know, networking level and just kind of like have conversations with me. And I thought, okay, that makes a little more sense. It was a little weird, a little vague on what they wanted to speak about. And that's the thing. I didn't want anything from them. I didn't think they wanted anything from me. It was just kind of going to be a conversation. And that was what I was excited for. And so, yeah, we had that call. There was another book. I'll write it on the screen if I can remember what it was, that I read a few chapters out of. Just to, you know, kind of get in that mindset. And they were all like business related, success related. And I really loved it. I love that kind of stuff. And then we had another call and spoke about how these books affected me, what I thought about them. They gave me another book to read, and they were saying that they actually put together little presentations, her and her husband, on, their life story and how they got there to inspire others. And so they kind of invited me to come and hear it and just, meet them in person. And so me being the paranoid true crime YouTuber that I am, was like, I'm absolutely not doing this alone. And the week that they had actually planned to do it was a week when we had family over. My mom was here, his sister and her friend were here. I just didn't have the time and the capacity to do it. So I told them, I can't make it. Maybe we can meet up some other time. And so I noticed it was a little strange that they kept being persistent about, we have another meeting this day, we have another meeting this day. There was just a lot of meetings, a lot of presentations that I could go to. And I thought, well, that's weird. Maybe this community of people just really like to get together a lot. Maybe it's different types of presentations. I wasn't really sure. So the next week came and they contacted me again and were like, we're having a meeting this Wednesday. If you would like to come, you can also bring your boyfriend. And so at that point I was like, okay, I can bring my boyfriend. I won't be alone in this situation. I wouldn't have gone if I was alone. This makes me feel safer. So I told him about it. He was like, okay, this is a little weird, but he too wants to have a network, wants to speak to people who are like-minded in business. And so we went in very cautious, but trying to be open-minded. I did notice that it was a location that was at a house rather than the few other meetings that they had invited me to were at more event centers, event spaces. And so I was like, I don't know. We can pull up to the house, see the vibe we get, and just head out if it's weird. So we got there, and it was in just like a normal community of houses, and stepped out of the car. We noticed there was a ton of other cars on the street, as though there were going to be other people there. That was one of my biggest fears. It was just going to be us and them just having like a weird dinner conversation, and it wasn't going to be a presentation at all, because I wasn't expecting that. And so there was a whole bunch of cars. Everyone was really dressed up. That's another thing. They had asked for us to wear business attire, and I thought that's really weird. We're going to somebody's house granted, this was 8 p.m. on a Wednesday night. We were both exhausted after work, my boyfriend and I. So we wore, nice looking clothes, but not super dressy. And so we got there and noticed every single person getting out of their car. The men were in suits. The women were in their fanciest dresses and heels. And we were just like, what is going on here? We ended up getting out of the car, and immediately I saw the guy that had come up to me in the coffee shop. And he was like, hi, Brooke, how are you? I introduced him to my boyfriend. He introduced me to his girlfriend. We kind of just like talked as we headed into the space. So we headed into this home, a very small home, and nothing against small homes, the size of a home, anything. That doesn't mean anything to me at all. But it was a little strange considering they had said that they were millionaires and that they would have such a small living environment. There also wasn't much decor. It appeared as though nobody lived there. So we walked in, and there was a ton of people all dressed super nice. And we were very much just out of our element, not feeling the best. But the guy that had spoken to me at the coffee shop, he was just introducing me to people. He was very kind. He was introducing me to the wife and the husband that we were going to watch the presentation from, and all of their kids who were there as well. And there was just basically a whiteboard and a whole bunch of seating in this house that was pretty much empty. So they started the presentation, the husband and wife, and they were going into the fact that this was one of their children's homes. But it didn't look like anybody lived in it. So that was just something that caught my eye. And then the husband started to talk, and he was really good at, kind of just motivational speaking. He was talking about the type of community that they want to be in, their life story, which I'm not going to get into because that's their business. And just kind of hyping everybody up, making everybody feel like they're capable of becoming anything they want, like they're capable of becoming millionaires as well. They were very down to earth, I would say. The husband talked a lot of the time, and like I said, I was talking to the wife on the Zoom call, so this is the first time I was even seeing the husband. And so I noticed when we went to sit down, my boyfriend and I found some seats, and then the guy from the coffee shop, he kind of brought his own chair and sat next to us. And I was like, oh, well, that's nice. Maybe he just wants me to feel comfortable. Again, probably naive of me, but I was just thinking he was being nice. We listened to this presentation. It went on for about an hour. And that was when we heard the one word that my boyfriend had warned me about. It's basically an e-commerce MLM, multi-level marketing scheme, where you profit off the people below you, but the people at the top are really the only ones making money. It's a very scammy, kind of gross business to be in. And so my boyfriend warned me when he heard the word e-commerce. He was saying, now there is this MLM, and I'm not going to name them for legal reasons, but that some people can try to recruit you for. He said, as soon as we hear this word, we know we don't want it. And he was like, you can research it, but it's not necessarily a great thing to get into. And so we heard this word about an hour into the presentation. First time he ever said that. And that's when we realized we had been recruited. I had been recruited to an MLM scheme, and they are very good at it. I feel like I am pretty aware. I'm a little naive when it comes to certain things, but I'm pretty aware. My boyfriend's very aware. And still we had hope that it wasn't going to be that. And so a little while later, he confirmed that they are a part of it. I was trying to basically get everybody in that room, which is probably around 20, 30 people, to sign up to sell or to have their own business through this site, through this e-commerce site. One thing I noticed through his presentation was a lot of the time when he would make little jokes here and there, I would sometimes laugh if I did find it funny. I'm not one that's just going to laugh at everything just because that's the societal norm. I'm going to laugh if I find it funny. However, everybody else in that room kind of looked around every time he did something funny. Everyone else started laughing. And it was like my boyfriend and I talked about this afterwards. It was like somebody held up a sign, said it's time to laugh in a studio audience for a TV show. And everybody erupted in laughter and stopped at the same time. It was odd, it was strange. And it just gave, honestly, culty vibes. And that was before he had even mentioned the MLM. So we got to that part, and my boyfriend and I just kind of looked at each other, and we stopped writing notes. Because that was, they asked you to bring a notepad and pen and write everything down. And so I stopped writing notes, and I noticed the guy next to me who had met me at the coffee shop guy. He immediately noticed that I stopped writing notes after that. And I could just feel the energy shift. I knew instantly I had gotten myself in a bad position. Thankfully, boyfriend was there. I knew that, I had the option just to leave, hopefully. Got through that. It was probably another 30 minutes that we had to listen to the talk. And it wasn't a situation where we could have just quietly left. We were in the very back. We'd have to walk through everybody, be asked why we're leaving. So we just quietly sat there. It ended with, here's the paperwork to sign up. You're going to want to do this. It's so simple. It's easy for your future. Why not make this extra income? And so at that point, we were already done. We knew we did not want to be a part of it. It doesn't feel right in the gut and the soul to do something like that for us personally. And so as soon as the presentation stopped and everybody was getting up, talking, getting ready to go, coffee shop guy immediately started, well, we can have this meeting tomorrow. I can get you all of the paperwork you need. And I was just kind of trying to be polite. I didn't want to cause a scene by saying, look, I'm just not interested in your MLM scheme. He was going on about how he and everyone in his family does this and that the entire family of the millionaires do this. and it's just going to be so good for me and my boyfriend. And so we were just kind of smiling and nodding, and then went to say goodbye to the husband and the wife to thank them for their time. And we quickly got out the door. My boyfriend literally was like, well, I think it's time to go. And I was like, yeah, you got to get up early in the morning. And we got out of there. And again, the coffee shop guy followed us all the way to the door like he was my dad telling me I could go on this date. Like, it was so strange. And I was just like, I don't like this. I want to go. Got into the car. Immediately, we were both like, what did we get ourselves into? It boils down to, it was an adventure. We got out of the house. We did something different. Nobody was harmed. I'm not going to give anybody any money. I didn't do that. Everything was fine, but I was just a little disappointed because I had really genuinely wanted just like a friendship, a connection, a business relationship, but not in the way of doing business together, or not in the way of being recruited and being used for the money you're going to make off of me when I start selling. Because that's essentially what Coffee Guy was going to do. Anyone below you that you recruit, you're going to gain some money from them. That's how it works. And so he was trying really, really hard to get me in there so that he could essentially profit off me. And it just felt super icky. I was very disappointed. My boyfriend even apologized to me, saying like, I'm sorry that these people weren't who they said that they were. They weren't upfront about anything. They were just very vague about everything. And that's something I would tell past me if I could go back, is to make them be less vague. I was just kind of like, okay, you don't really want to tell me exactly what the e-commerce is. Okay, I don't really know exactly what you do, but that's okay because we're just having a conversation. Yes, but that wasted my time in the end, and I'm just not interested at all. And so I would just tell any of you who are in this sort of circumstance, make sure you're asking all the questions. Straight up ask, is this an MLM? And see what kind of response you get. That's what I wish I would have done. And looking back, I should have. But too late for me. Hopefully it'll work for you. So a few days, actually the day after this meeting, I was of course texted by the coffee shop guy. He was wanting to get in contact again, and then the wife was contacting me again, and finally, okay, so my camera died. I have no idea what I was talking about, but I did end up texting them today actually and just saying, hey, lovely to meet you, not interested in the MLM. After I said that, I got a thumbs up in response to that. However, then the coffee shop guy, the wife was telling the coffee shop guy, because we're in a group chat, that I would probably be a good customer, that maybe he should make me a customer. They just don't quit. They don't quit. They don't care. They don't want no's. It's crazy. But thankfully, I am out of that situation. Thankfully, my boyfriend and I knew enough not to get further involved. I am just a little disappointed, but hopefully this just gives you a warning and you are more prepared for if somebody comes up and recruits you, because I will say he was good at it, and they're very good at not making you realize what you are involved in until it hits you in the face. So yeah, let me know if you guys want more story times on this channel. Let me know what you want in general. Do you want more vlogs? More vlogs will be coming. I'm excited to start kind of revamping this channel and telling you guys a lot more. I was thinking about doing a get ready with me Q&A if you want to leave some questions down below that I can talk to you about while I get ready. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.